Race cars are cool. Makes me think of the old muscle cars of the 1960s. Sort of like the Plymouth Satellite. Yep, really. The first generation 1966 Plymouth Satellite two-door hardtop is considered a muscle car, especially with its 426 Hemi 7-liter V8, taking this monster 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds and the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds at 104 miles per hour. But wait, there's more. This is one of 817 built. Fairly rare indeed. This beast is interesting, so let's have some fun with this far out project. Welcome to Road Odyssey. I will give you a look at this cool satellite's past life, specifications, some rebuild info, and speculated value. Please like and subscribe. Visit my Facebook page where you can follow what I am up to. And I have hundreds of car and road trip videos with my Road Odyssey YouTube channel. Check them out. This satellite's story began on May 20th when the Callaway Customs Hot Rod Shop acquired the beast. Callaway Customs is a hot rod shop just north of Paris, Texas, which is far northeast of Dallas. As you witness the very first pictures I got at the end of May 2024, let me explain that I will be providing bits and pieces about the car's history, VIN info, exterior, powertrain, body, interior, and value. Plus some of the work that Callaway Customs provided as they put the car back together and got it running. This project was inherited from another shop for the reason that the owner had unfortunately passed away just a few years ago. Car might have been in a slow trajectory for rebuilding since at least June 12, 2009, 15 years ago, well, as of the time of this video. Parts that were bought new became old and often rusted. This included the brake reservoir, gas tank, and, well, every item of the car had to be revisited, hands put on, and eyes inspected. For a rare one of 817 cars, this 1966 Satellite has reason to be a good collector's car. The story given to me is the previous shop or the late owner lost the VIN and fender tags. Since the owner had passed away, there was no finding the tags. The Callaways were uncertain that they wanted the liability of a car that was missing these tags. Perhaps, well, the car could have been stolen or definitely misrepresented. Before getting the work, the Callaways spoke at length to a lawyer. Luckily, an original title and registration was miraculously found. The lawyer representing the deceased owner's estate had that sent to the Callaways. That same lawyer also had estate funds available for the project to get completed to a point where the satellite could be, returned to a good, respectable condition for sale. And that was the job of Callaway Customs. With the bulk of the legalities established, it's time to go back in time to 1966, when the Plymouth dealerships often had an amazing lineup of muscle cars that, well, many of us didn't foresee as being rare, collectible, and highly sought after. The dealership that sold this 66 Satellite, I believe, was Schwarz Motors, located in Gonzales, Texas. Here's the original title, and from about 6 years later, the 1973 registration. These two important artifacts really helped to authenticate the satellite's existence, although I read Hamilton Chrysler Plymouth in Dallas on the title. There is more that has been found. The original build card was located. This is a great find from the Stellantis Historical Services in Detroit, Michigan. And I quote, The build card was put on microfilm many years before they arrived to the archives. Everything possible has been done to provide you with the best copy of our files. We cannot make the build cards any larger or clearer than what has been provided to you. Pretty cool that a copy of the build card is still on microfilm and available from the Stellantis Historical Services for this satellite as authenticity records. Now there is a side note. Okay, what is a build card? It's a punch card with all of the car's build data, like what you would see on the VIN and trim tags or fender tags. It's a smooth card that has specific holes punched in it to represent a coordinated, predetermined data set of features. I used punch cards myself for Fortran computer language programming classes in college. Anyway, this punch machine was used to create the cards, which was then put into a card reader that transmitted each card into a computer as a program. Wikipedia can tell you all about this ancient technology that was extensively used throughout the world for data processing. Well, from the build card, you can see at the top, February 15th, 1966 was the shipped date, or that's what the dealership had the manufacturer set, or the manufacturer set as the ship date. It has the VIN at the top left and some corresponding trim or fender tag information as well. Again, all documentation was verified by Stellantis Chrysler Historical Department. There was also work provided by a Barrett-Jackson Chrysler Product Subject Matter Coordinator who validates and values automobiles for authenticity. Just one of several vehicle verification teams available through Barrett-Jackson. So pretty cool that Barrett-Jackson also got involved in validating this 66 satellite. With the VIN on the 1966 title and the 1973 registration, plus the build card, the lost VIN tag has now been reproduced and replaced legally. The VIN is mounted inside the driver's door jamb. Let's decode this VIN. VIN number RP23H67219934. Beginning at the front left, R is the model, in this case Plymouth Satellite. P, price line, is premium, which is above or better than high. 23 is the body type, meaning two-door hardtop. H is the engine, a 426 Hemi 4-barrel carbs, 8-cylinder RB engine. Okay, the 6 model year 1966 7 is the assembly plant, St. Louis, Missouri. And then the 219934 is the sequence or serial number. Now, looking at the fender tag decoders on the internet, I found one that I liked, but it was not perfectly right. So I got a copy of the 44-page document that interpreted the build card. Now, from that document, only a few pages were actually needed, but that document and the build card is how the fender tag was created. So here we go. Now that the fender tag is legal, the results that I've got for reading the tag are, under the small A and B, the 65 means console and rear armrests and or ashtray. All of that's true. Under the uppercase AB, the 73 means 426 Hemi, and the other 3 means 4-speed manual. Under the uppercase G, the 1 means 26-inch radiator, correct. Under the uppercase R, the 0 means no radio. But the radio was added along with the front speaker, as I saw from the paperwork decoding the original punch card. Under the uppercase T, the 7 means tachometer. I haven't seen that installed in the car yet. I'm sure it's there. Just have to see. On the bottom row, 217 is a scheduled ship date of February 17th, which is close to the ship date at the center top of the punch card and the shipped date at the bottom right of the punch card. Then also the same as the shipping order number at the top right of the punch card. Anyway, car was built somewhere in February. Now the final 02132 is the factory ID number. RP23 is the body type, same as the VIN. It calls out a Plymouth Premium Hardtop. The P4Y stands for Premium Interior Trim of Citron Vinyl, which is a greenish gold. And if you see anywhere on here a P4Y, it's not to be confused with the PY4 punch card code for bucket seats, which it does have. And the GG1 is the exterior paint of dark green, metallic-ish poly. They call it poly or metallic. Again, same as the VIN. And under the T is the letter Z for the greenish gold upper inner door frame paint. As for the exterior, all the trim's been reinstalled. The trim's a mixture of original, refurbished, and new. Putting on the trim that runs along the top of the body, front to back, was difficult to install. They had to remove everything to get to the bolts that ran just inside the exterior body panels. Quote, "It was a pain in the backside. All the windows are good, sealed, all that. Headlights work. Front turn indicators work both in front and rear, as well as in the front trim." I always thought that was cool. The car's weight is 3,924 pounds, or basically 3,400. Now this is sort of a cool story. The original Goodyear Blue Street tires were on the wheels, well, that got lost in the shuffle, and were replaced with American racing wheels in 1966 by the owner just after he purchased the car. The Callaways reinstalled the OEM replacements that are not original, but they are the exact same as the original. So even though they're missing that little small center cap. Now the powertrain, the engine appears to be the original. It is 100% correct according to build dates and all that. Specifically, it's a legendary 426 Hemi, early version with solid lifters, which makes the engine pretty rare. 425 horsepower, 490 pound-feet of torque. There are two 4-barrel carburetors. It has a little over 10-to-1 compression. 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds, quarter mile in 13.8 seconds at 104 miles per hour. 0 to 100 in 12.5 seconds. Top speed, which is theoretical going without the speed governor, top speed 148 miles per hour. The carburetor itself, or carburetors, are Carter's 4-barrel AFBs. So the front carburetor, the secondary, is the AFB 4139S. The rear carburetor, which is the primary with the choke, is the AFB 4140S.
Yep.
And here we go with the first start. Looking under the car, the exhaust, likely the original stock headers. The mufflers have been replaced, but they are stock OEM mufflers, and the piping is all 2.5 inch. The fuel tank is new and replaced because the other new one got all rusted out. The fuel economy, speaking of fuel, so the average combination fuel economy is 8.5 miles per gallon. That's not real good. The odometer was replaced, so the total miles has been lost. The transmission appears to be original. The Chrysler factory 4-speed manual, quote unquote, A833. The A833 appeared in all 1964 Mopar A, B, and C models and the later E models, and was offered in several 4-speed configurations until the mid-1970s. All early versions of the A833 were made with a cast iron case. Because of the cast iron cases, they were more rugged. They are more sought after for replacements, swap outs. From Hemi, they said the A833 4-speed will add value and crowd appeal to your muscle car. Well, the Callaways rebuilt the pedals for proper use of the manual shifter. There were problems for the first and second gears of the shifter mechanism linkages, which required serious repair, but that is all done and just fine. In terms of maintenance, getting under and around the bottom area of the engine is difficult to do the major work, although for simple maintenance, it seemed just fine. And speaking of maintenance, as they were doing the timing and trying to adjust the distributor, that was difficult because number one, it's tucked into that front notch area, and also there's a pipe that comes out that is right next to it with a hose, and it was in the way quite a bit as well. Now, most people know this. The Satellite was built on a solid unit body, or Unibody, which was a design, well, from ancient animal history, the turtle shell. Okay, seriously, a body design enabling more efficient manufacturing and assembly. The idea was to have minimum weight with maximum strength. Well, relative to the time, that is. A major concern was that a manufacturer had to ensure that the body did not quickly rust, which would make the car's structural integrity very dangerous. It was Chrysler that first used a 7-step series of body structure rust-proofing baths using electrostatic charge to bond sealant to the metal. Pretty cool. Most everything related to the unibody top and bottom seems to have been thoroughly reworked very well. No Bondo monsters. Chassis parts are mostly original except for worn out parts. Callaways replaced the shocks with factory replacements. They also fixed the previously new master cylinder that got rusted over. Just sat too long. A little more of the interior. The shells to the back of the front bucket seats were reinstalled. There's currently no heater AC. There should be, but these units are very difficult to find. The Callaways tried ordering one and it just wasn't oriented correctly, so that apparently is fairly difficult. The steering column looks new or just very well retouched, but uncertain if it's actually an aftermarket or anything like that. And up underneath all this interior, new floor pans had been previously reinstalled or taken care of. All right, now the question might be the value of this car. Now, the base price originally was $2,612. The original purchase price was about $3,400. The value range should be about $5,000 to $86,000 according to Auto Trader, $15,000 to $94,000 according to Classics.com. The Callaways were told that it could, in theory, have a value of up to $70,000. Not too sure about that. The problem with these types of cars in this year range is, from what I was told, they've lost popularity. While this particular car has some TLC to complete, it should still be very well valued, a minimum of 20 grand to 40 grand as an approximation. Remember the details, like the good old A8 33 transmission that's been a favorite of muscle car enthusiasts, and the giant Hemi 426. Those two things alone give this Satellite a good value. With the rarity, like having what appears as the original engine, transmission, plus good documentation and a great backstory, this Satellite should have a very good value. When you see references to King Kong, or for those individuals who maintain an active interest in sanctioned off-highway timed trials and propels the vehicle to victories in drag races, you know it's a muscle car. It is a complete car that has been well restored. Honestly, at this moment, there is some work that remains. Its value should still be fairly high, with an expectation of only a little more shop time yet to be done. Remember, Hemi-powered Dodge and Plymouth vehicles from the mid-60s are collectible. Now, I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed all of this information and a little bit different video for me. It was fun to piece all of this information together to share with you. I hope that you found it useful as well. If you're looking to buy a Satellite, perhaps this video will be of use to you. And with that, relax, take it easy, and I will see you later. Bye.